So Donald Trump is deeply ashamed and disappointed in all of you, you nasty people, as his tariffs were just struck down by the Supreme Court. Here's Trump here. He says, the Supreme Court ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointed. I am ashamed of certain members of the court for not having the courage to do what is right for our country. And he always has like weird ways of capitalizing things, writing stuff. But that's Trump. According to him, his tariffs were making America great again. He is deeply disappointed. Now, his party, the Republicans, GOP, they'll put out these kind of posts. This was a few days ago. Wages are climbing. Costs are falling. Our economy is thriving. This is the Trump effect. Fire, right? And then they get fact checked on all of it. Basically, they just lie nonstop. Why do they do that? It's because they don't have anything good to talk about, just to be frank. And so then their whole strategy is essentially burn everything to the ground and then put out a bunch of content to make you feel good about things burning to the ground, I guess. I guess in this day and age, if you got no money and you got no food, you got no power, at least you can stay warm by things burning to the ground. Now, this is from the FCC. It says, Carr urges broadcasters to air patriotic, pro-America content. Huh. So I guess now we want propaganda nonstop. Is that our plan? As America's turn 50th anniversary approaches, it is important to reflect on the ideals and events that have defined our past while keeping an eye towards our country's bright future. I am calling on broadcasters, so I guess everyone on TV, radio, etc., to pledge to provide programming that promotes civic education, national pride, and our shared history. And they've been intimidating various broadcasters, right? And now they're saying you got to promote all of these things, be pro-Trump, be pro-America, because if you tell the truth, that's just un-American to tell the truth, I guess, right? Their point of view, basically the economy's sputtering, right? Trump's tariffs, the recent shutdown. So now we're down to 1.4% GDP. Things look pretty ugly out there. And you guys already know this, and that's why I just show you what they say, right? The Trump people always say everything's great, but you know they're lying. You know that. And this is sort of what we're facing right now is what's going to happen with the tariff refunds because the government has been taking a whole bunch of this stuff, right? And I just wanted to just understand the scale of like how different the tariff situation was in the past compared to now. So in the past, you can see it was like always under 10 billion. This would be monthly from the tariffs. And that was going back to 2019. And then you hit, where we are now. And Trump always claims that everyone's so rich off of these things, but he's just taxing you, sputtering the economy, and things are really slowing down. And now we're fighting over what's going to happen with this money. This is also an interesting chart here. It says how the share of U.S. imports under different trade rules evolved. Okay. And so the tariffs here that are deemed illegal make up quite a bit of the tariffs that we're talking about. So you have, this is like all of our trade effectively. So you have 67% of it is, duty free or exempted from duties in that realm. Actually, that's 51% is exempted from duties. And then you got duty free at 67. Industry tariffs, 10%. And then invalidated emergency tariffs, that's around 25%. Okay. So there will still be some tariffs in place, just to be clear on that. Just want to show you, though, we are talking about a pretty sizable chunk. And the estimate that I keep hearing is around 175 billion that you should want your money back, basically. They illegally collected on you. That's the best way to describe it. Gavin Newsom made a statement today on this. Listen to this.
He's unhinged. Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged. Even his hand-picked Supreme Court said what he was doing was lawless. The tariffs were illegal from day one. A tax increase on ranchers, on farmers, on small businesses, on you and me. Donald Trump should return that money immediately. He has an obligation, $1,751 per family, but we're taxed by Donald Trump. Pay us back. Put that money back in the pockets of working families and the American people.
So that's the governor of California saying, give us our money back. I completely understand, completely agree. Pritzker is the governor of Illinois. Let's see what he has to say.
The Supreme Court just confirmed what we already knew. Trump's tariffs are illegal. He did it without the support of Congress or the voters. and you paid the price. He illegally took $1,700 from every American family. That's a tax on working people. Donald Trump now owes you a refund for every dollar of it. America's working families deserve a refund. Cut the check, Donald.
This is from his office. Says your tariff taxes wreaked havoc on farmers, enraged our allies, and sent grocery prices through the roof. This morning, your hand-picked Supreme Court justice notified that they are also unconstitutional. On behalf of the people of Illinois, I demand a refund of $1,700 for every family in Illinois. There are 5 million households in my state. Bring the total damages you owe to about $8.6 billion. The Supreme Court has ruled that this is yet more unconstitutional act by you and your administration. This letter and the attached invoice stands as official notice that compensation is owed to the people of Illinois. If you do not comply, we will pursue further action. And I wonder if you're going to get a bunch of like states sending out these things. This is an invoice here you can see. Reimbursement owed to Illinois families for illegally imposed tariffs. So $7,800 per family. And then you come up with the number there. Was it 5 million families? Then you got 8.6 billion basically. One of the things that I was thinking about with this also is you have states could sue. You have multiple companies that can sue. And then you have like various individuals that can sue. There could be class actions. I mean, this is about real money, right? If it's 176, it's in that range, $1 billion that they illegally took. Just think about that. That's really a lot of money, and I could see this in court all over the place. And again, I think this will be the pressing issue into the midterms.
I would also like to take a moment to address today's Supreme Court ruling, and I would note that I did not change a single word in my speech post the ruling. President Trump will always put our national security and Americans first. And as I have said before, the president has multiple tools in his toolbox. Let's be clear about what today's ruling was and what it wasn't. Despite the misplaced gloating from Democrats, ill-informed media outlets, and the very people who gutted our industrial base, the court did not rule against President Trump's tariffs. 6 justices simply ruled that IEEPA authorities cannot be used to raise even $1 of revenue. This administration will invoke alternative legal authorities to replace the IEEPA tariffs. We will be leveraging Section 232 and Section 301 tariff authorities that have been validated through thousands of legal challenges. Treasury's estimates show that the use of Section 122 authority, combined with potentially enhanced Section 232 and Section 301 tariffs, will result in virtually unchanged tariff revenue in 2026. And
so basically what they're going to try to do is put more tariffs on. I think Trump announced like an additional 10% on every country or something, and they're going to try to do something yet illegal again. And this is where it'll be interesting if Congress will step in on this one or not, because the Supreme Court just is like, yo, this is illegal. And they're going to say, oh, no, we're going to try a different way to do tariffs. The whole thing's a mess. And then the other thing they're going to try to do is maybe attack Iran here. Trump says he's considering limited military strike against Iran, right? So we're having a fight over the refunds. They're going to try to do yet more illegal stuff. And then while all that's going on, we'll start a war to get you, distracted. We're going to spend a bunch of money on that. We saw about that yesterday, how we're in a massive deficit spending. The national debt is growing like nuts. And we're pissing off allies and just absolutely canceling tourism as people aren't coming anymore. This just came out today. Top German soccer team cancels trip to Minneapolis, citing Trump immigration crackdown. Werder Bremen says, one of the founding members of the Bundesliga, so if you guys are familiar with this team, you can let me know, said playing the city, quote, does not fit with our values in the light of 2 federal law enforcement shootings last month. And this is what it is. I understand the modern people say, well, Chris, you're so dumb. Trump is a genius. He's the greatest genius of all time. And this is always a question I pose to you. Okay, so they always say that their policies are awesome and that you're super, super rich. Are you? Are you super, super rich? And if so, is your name Lutnick, or, because his kids, Lutnick, I think it was like Lutnick's kids and Lexington's old firm, bet against the tariffs that they put into place. So they stand to make a bunch of money if they're struck down, which they just were. And now we're fighting over refunds. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.